so in this one, I am going to be reacting to Goresh's newest ranking the top 10 best characters in the game, June 2023 edition, part 2. Obviously, the second part of the anniversary has arrived with Orange Piccolo, Game 1 and 2, Magenta, and the new Dragon Ball Super Nerd Gohan. Clearly, there is opinions that have been stated, of my own, of others, and I'm going to be reacting to Goresh's. It's just my opinions versus his opinions, not even versus, I guess, in different planes, because different, queues. I am in NA queue, he's in the Japanese queue, so probably is a little bit different over there, which might affect some placements. But with that being said, let us begin. I will pause where I disagree and can make an argument against it, but if I do agree or can at least understand what's going on, I'm just going to skip over to the next number. So let's begin and see what happens here.
Hey guys, today we're going to be covering another installation of my top 10 units list for Dragon Ball Legends. Now, this is actually the June 2023 edition, but I've already done a different June 2023 editions. This is going to be June 2023 part 2.
Terrible on the home screen.
Anniversary, dropping a lot of characters. There's a lot of movements going on in the meta. There's a lot of different switches and changes and stuff like that. So equipment coming out, different Zenkais. So there's a lot going on here. So I figured it's worth making another list this month. So if you guys are watching this in the future, keep in mind this is the June 2023 part 2 edition of this list. So, and before we jump into the list itself, I would like to talk about 3 points before talking about the actual placements here. So, number 1, all characters are considered at 14 stars, best teams, best equips, etc., etc., etc. Number 2, I like to view this more as a top 10 ranking of the current meta, as opposed to the top 10 just straight up best characters in the game.
That's teams.
And then number 3, this list consists of rankings that are entirely of my own opinion. You know, my different
of my own
than most people who are probably watching this video. I play the game in Japan, so my experience is with the JP meta. So if you guys are playing in NA, you guys might be fighting different characters, different teams.
No, we're all fighting the same stupid shit.
Performing
now with this buff, we are.
So I can only judge each character based off of my experience fighting with them and against them. So those are the 3 disclaimers before we jump into the video. With that being said, I do want to try and make these a little bit shorter. I think the last one I made was actually pretty short. It was just about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit less than 30 minutes. So I want to try and keep it to that if possible.
This one's 40
minutes.
So he did not fucking succeed on that one.
List from there.
All right, number 10.
All right, coming in at number 10, we have
Rev UI. So I actually did my own, part 2 list, a part 2 of the anniversary list, a couple days ago at this point, and I think I had Rev UI 11th. So if he's going to put him 10, 11th, I think 1 to 2 positionings, at least in the lower tiers, in I don't know, up to number 6 area, I don't think, X and Y can be swapped to one spot to another. I think, maybe you can argue it, but me personally, I wouldn't agree with it. Up 6 and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 can't be swapped 1 to 1. Maybe 1 and 2 because it's just preference and what you're facing at that point. But Rev UI, if I had him 11th and he has him 10th, I'm just gonna say, okay, cool. Sure, let's just see where we go from here. I can see it. I understand it. Maybe if you don't want to see Orange as top 10, then you see Rev UI as a better revival unit, a better team, because Unireps is still probably better than Movies at this point, because Orange really doesn't even go on Movies, to be fair, because Movies just doesn't really have a great situation right now, because Beast can't really be his perfect self. If you see this guy as 10, I see him as 11. Okay, sure, no problem. Let's just move to number 9. No reason to stay over. Reason to stay overextended.
All right, coming in at number 9 on the list, we have
number 9, Orange. Me? I have number 9. I want to hear a little bit what he has to say here, just because I'm curious. But I have Orange exactly number 9. My number 10 is Beast. Just to point out, wait, it's either swapped. It's 9 or 10, whatever. It's 9 or 10 for Beast and Orange. They're swappable, right? 9, 10 swappable. I have number 9 or 10, whatever it is. I'm curious what he has to say about him, though. There's 6 minutes here, so I want to hear a little bit of stuff.
So I think for this meta,
Union's getting a lot of hate.
Environment that we're
kind of rightfully
now,
deserved, but
with anniversary part 2, I think I am comfortable with having this guy at number 9 on the list.
Yeah, it's valid.
If you wanted to move him up 1 spot, I could see it. I think
1 spot's too much.
But this is he's just really, it's not a great meta for Piccolo, to be honest.
It's like Rev UI when
He
UGB was
is
already
an
around. It's like,
interesting
what are we doing?
character, I think.
It's
right?
Goku
'Cause
Frieza
he
now with
is
this.
basically a modern version of Revival Gohan from the
I've
3rd
said this so many
anniversary.
times.
Revival Purple.
I haven't
Gohan
heard this
from the
often
Reject
enough.
movie.
Yes, he's Rev on
But
2023.
clearly,
Yes.
definitely not as powerful, definitely not as impactful as that Revival Gohan
Eclipse.
was on release.
Eclipse. That's why Gohan was
This
more
guy
powerful.
has
And Puddle.
definitely a really interesting
got
transformation.
Puddle.
I think there are a few things that I would have liked to have seen a bit differently designed
More
for this character, because I
defensiveness.
definitely have seen a lot of people complaining
It's
about
not
this unit.
defensive enough.
I've seen a lot of people calling this guy just straight up bad, which is certainly not the case. I mean,
I agree. Piccolo's not bad. Now, let me point this out. I think I've had to say this. I've said this a million times, but I'll repeat it again, because we haven't got a rival unit in a little bit of time here that has been regarded as good day one, frame one. Revfon was regarded as very good as day one, frame one, right? Well, that was 30th anniversary. It's 2 years ago. Rev UI was dogpiled frame one. Then, people realized, oh, he's kind of actually not the worst thing. Even though UGB's still around, he's not the worst thing in existence. Maybe he's not ideal right now, but he's not the worst thing. But he was dogpiled frame one for a week, and then people liked him. Then they dogpiled him. Then they started liking him again. Now people are content with Rev UI. They're like, all right, top 15 unit minimum, maybe even top 10 sometimes. That's Rev UI right now. That's how his lifespan has gone so far. Piccolo is that. Goku Frieza exists. People are saying because Goku Frieza exists, essentially, that he's bad. That's, while accurate to a degree, just because X gets countered by Y, does that make that bad? Like, Hit came out. LF17 is going to come out, or existing already. Beast Gohan already exists. People are saying Hit is beast food. That wasn't true at all. And then people regarded Hit as mediocre or bad because he only has X and Y things, comparably to like UGB, who has like 97 things, but then Hit did more things in his one things he did do, and like his damage, he outdamaged UGB, or like his, finishing blow or kill or removing Dragon Balls, he did it better than UGB, right? So people would regard him as bad because the time frame it came out. Piccolo is no exception to this. And even more than that, my main point was going to be Revival and tag units need stars. More specifically, tag units want Zenkai buffs. The Gammas right now, if you have them below 7 stars, I don't think you'll like them. Maybe you'll say they're top 10, but you won't like them. You really won't like them that much. I have them 14 stars. They're like half Zenkai left by EXL, and I feel like they're, 5, 6, maybe even touching 4 area, if you want to cope them. I won't cope them that far, I'll say 6. Piccolo, even at 14 stars, I feel like this is real, because one, Goresh is rating this 14 stars. I think this unit is getting overhated because of where they're currently situated, but just have the understanding that, one, Part 3 Ultra could easily be a blue. This guy gains value. I'm just saying that. We haven't had a blue Ultra since USG, the first Ultra. Just pointing out what could be realistic here. Red does make sense as well, but blue also makes sense. Those are main 2 colors that we want to see for an Ultra, right? That's what we want to see. That's what we probably will see as the Ultra. And 2, while he is hurt now, it's not ideal for him now, you still can use him. You do, and he's probably going to mention it here, Kid Buu and him, while he's more support type on regen as of now, that's just because who is the blue you're facing right now? L17's not that common. Beast Gohan's not really common at all. If there is a dominant blue, whether it be UVB or the LF after this or the Ultra after this, whoever it is, just a dominant blue comes to the meta, whatever it is, he will gain value. There really isn't. The Goku Frieza murders greens like it's a cakewalk. He's on a amplified setup of Zenkai buff by 4 times, blue card spawning, double support. If you're thinking Goku Frieza is not going to murder a revival unit that has low stats because they're revival, it's just not the case. He's going to get fucking nuked, and that sucks for him right now, and he definitely could have been better. But to say that this unit's bad, as people have been, proclaiming and complaining about, is just inaccurate. He's definitely subpar to the others, and that's a problem. He shouldn't be that way. But to say he's bad, I feel like is a misusage of the word. He's just subpar. Again, that's not... Bad and subpar are not equivalent. They're not equivalent to one another. They're just very close, but they're not equivalent.
Top 10 unit in the game right now, I think.
Just need to get that out of the way, because Piccolo gets so much hate.
Pretty damn good.
It's a little forced. A little.
The thing with this character is a lot of what he's trying to do post-transformation is dependent upon his counter, his green card.
Yes.
He has no way of force
He's
drawing.
way too dependent on that.
Right?
I agree.
And
he needs more defense.
Especially when you're running him on regen setup, which is
better.
where I think he's designed to be used on.
Exactly.
His best partner, of course, being Kid Buu. A lot of times you end up
prioritizing
Kid
Buu.
with his green
Yes.
card because of
He's
how,
a support type on
literally,
regen.
Kid Boo's green card is the single best arts card in the game, next to Rose's blue card and Goku and Frieza's
Yeah, probably
blue
he's
card.
right.
It
Because
is
you're
the
making all
single
strikes
best arts
anyways.
card in
Can't
the game,
UGB gauge
Kid Boo's
pop.
green card. So
And no
I
one
feel
can
like
swap in.
this guy
Doesn't
definitely
matter.
needs green cards to perform well post transformation. Because if he does,
But
and
then
you
you have
build this
better
guy
green card
properly,
user.
which is,
See what I
I
mean?
think
Some
is just completely offensively, by the way. If you've built him
I agree
properly
with that.
and you are
It's like
in a,
Revlon.
average position with the unit where you're not just like pigeonholed into fighting like multiple purples, then you're pretty much guaranteed a kill with this guy landing.
By the way, multiple purples being Elefsa and Goku Frieza being run as common as they are. Elefsa is not a problem as an individual unit, but he is a purple that can tank a green, and this is a green that is, once again, reviving. He will suck in pre, just the nature of it. Sucks, but that's revival units. That's why they have a second life. I know it's a little copium to say, like, being revival validates XYZ, but it is at least the premise of his design. He's revival, so his pre sucks in comparison to, well, obviously, his revived state, which, again, should have been a little bit better.
Green card, right? The no card destruction ability is pretty powerful in this meta.
That is really good.
He can go type neutral when his gauge
Under
is filled
talked
up.
about, because Goku Frieza destroy
So I do
everything
think
on
he
cover
actually
for
is
his entry.
damn strong once
when
you're
someone's
able
dead.
to land that
How
counter.
the fuck
which,
did you combo?
if you look at this character, he has a very similar situation to the transforming Yellow Jiren, actually. This character, post-transformation, if you're in mid-range with this character and you have a blast, or sorry, you have a strike, and you
Oh,
have a
because you
green
could
card in
do
your
either
hand,
or. Blast armor
the
or
opponent
strike.
can't
Agree.
do anything to you.
Yeah. Well, if you know your,
Right?
you
I'm
can
going
get
to
your
make the
timings
same
right.
exact comment when we talk
I
about
get that,
Yellow
though.
Jiren in a second, but you go to mid-range with Orange Piccolo, what does the opponent do? Right? You have a green
Kind of
card.
right.
Guess what? That counters a tackle. It counters a strike card. Your opponent blasts. You can counter it with your strike
Blast
card because
armor.
you blast armor.
He's not
So there's
wrong,
nothing your
but
opponent
that's
can
just
do except maybe throw like a beam.
It's right, but
blue
it's like,
card, a long range blue card. In which case,
it's
you
situational.
just vanish.
to a certain
Right,
extent.
so
Because you're not saving greens
It
for him. You
becomes
even said
very,
that. You're
very
not saving
tough to
greens for
deal
Piccolo.
with this
It's not
character.
the
If
thing
you're fighting
doing.
somebody that actually has good reflexes and can react to, whatever your opponent's doing or whatever you're doing, right?
He is right on that,
So I
but
think
it's an
this
extent
character
thing.
post transformation definitely depends on how good your reaction time is and knowing when to sort of utilize the counter. Pre transformation again, I equate him to a modern version of Revival Gohan. I think he's going to
And post
retain
as well.
a lot
They
of
both want
value
to do
moving
blues.
forward with his revival,
That's really it.
with his healing, with his support, with the extra green cards.
I understand what he's gonna go through here. Again, I agree with the placement. I just wanted to hear what he had to say about him, and basically I did hear what I wanted to hear, which is that he understands the goodness of Piccolo and the things he can do. It's just, again, he is subpar comparable to Gamma's, Goku Frieza, even Jiren at this point, because Jiren is just better. But he's still not a bad unit. If you're top 10, I feel like you're good enough. It's just for an Annie unit to be 9, while this one is, arguable top 1, this one's near top 5, and this one's like, higher than you as a 1% sparking. It's just kind of like, what the fuck happened here, Legends? Like, why'd you fumble the bag? And I agree with that. Why did you fumble? But, again, the word bad does not describe Piccolo. It's just inaccurate. Number 8.
All right, coming in at number 8, we have...
Wow! I am shocked! He really had... We got the same spot for UGB. Wow! Wow! I did not expect that. I thought he would value UGB because of, I believe he had mentioned that Rose and Kid Buu is running often, so, UGB would still have value against Rose, right? So I thought he'd maybe value him like a 7, 6, maybe even 5 spot still. Oh! All right. Wow, I'm shocked by that. I have nothing to go into. I agree completely. I have him exactly the same spot. Number 8. Wow. Well, that's fucking wild. Let's continue to number 7. Damn.
Number 7, we have transforming Yellow.
Do I have Jiren in the same spot? Let me check. Where is my Jiren? Where do I have Jiren? I think I have him, like, it's either 7 or 6. Hold on, I want to check real quick, because if I have him in the same spot, we have very identical tier lists then, because, the only thing so far is Rev UI, and, wait, hold on, let me check Jiren first before I say anything real quick. I have Jiren 7 as well! I had Piccolo 9. Wait, Beast can't be higher than Jiren, right? No way. Is Beast not... I swear, I saw this list earlier today, then I completely forgot, because I was like, I want to, be, like, fresh for the video and not, like, know what's going on. Is Beast not here? Is there an honorable mentions? Does he do one? No. I don't think Beast is here. I have Jiren 7 as well, so I completely agree. I'm on board. Beast doesn't seem to be here. I would think Beast would make it over Rev UI, right? I mean, personally speaking, from my experience against and using Beast, comparably to Rev UI, I just think Beast is so much individually better. And Movies is not the worst, though Uni Reps could be argued is better than Movies. It's at least a Blast-based build, though Blast-based Uni Reps still isn't perfect. It's still better than probably Movies. But Sun Family exists, and you could run kind of like a blue-blue-purple with like Goku Frieza Beast, and then like Pan, blue-purple-red, technically. Color synergy, right? Coverage, rather. There's no Beast so far. It's kind of throwing me off. But Jiren, I agree. I'm not going to, again, if I agree with it and I don't need to hear more because I know exactly what he's going to say because I say the same exact goddamn thing probably because we agree on the same opinion, I'm just going to skip through. So there's a lot I haven't had to even react to. I just agree. If I agree, that's it. We move. We move and schmove. Number 6.
All right, number 6. We
17.
Have Android 17.
I do not have 17 number 6.
I don't really.
I have 17 number 5. I have the game as number 6. So maybe the game is be number 5 here. I'm curious. Number 6, though. Listen, if you were to swap the Gammas and 17 as like 6 to 5, I wouldn't mind. That's like the one in like the top tiers. I wouldn't mind it. There's 2, 6 and 5, and then 1 and 2. I wouldn't mind being swapped around. I wouldn't mind it if you swap these two, but I'm very much more intrigued to put 17. Not because 17's individually... I think they're equivalent individually. The game was in 17. But then you look at what's furthermore that you're rating. You're rating teams. 17 goes on reps, right? Whether it be Strike or Blast Base, you go on reps. Gammas only go on droids. They don't want to go on movies. They can't go on movies. There's no third on movies, right? There's just nothing to put them there. So team-wise, if their individual and kits is equivalent... I gotta say 17, but that's just me. I'm curious what this is, though, why he is
character
here.
has moved too much on my list, really, since he released, almost. Like, he's like, I think he started like
There was
number
like a
2
solid
on the list.
frame.
Yeah,
he was like barely
out,
top 10.
This
was really bad timing.
And then like, he's like moved a little bit down the list. He's up to number 6 right now. So I mean, he's slowly moving down, but this guy's
he got a buff.
damn well. The reason why I moved him,
a little interesting. It'd be a little interesting if he moved down, considering he just got a big ass buff. Blue yellow is a color synergy. Like that is a thing that exists and matters.
He's number 5 on the prior list. The reason why I moved him from 5 to 6 here.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, we have a new character above this unit, but
okay, so it's game.
So obviously his main team is Universe Reps.
Probably.
And one of the biggest functions of this character.
Well. His main team is kind of both. It's not just reps. It's not. It's both. Androids is a very good team. I think it's underrated as fuck. Androids is, if not equivalent to Blast Uni Reps, maybe even equivalent to Strike Uni Reps in a sense. It's not, like, perfect, but it is very much competent. Reminder, nobody's running Blast defense right now. So if you have a Blast-based team, you are mowing through everything. You're like, how the fuck am I killing that fast? My Strikes never do that. It's because no one has Blast defense. Everyone's running Strike defense, because Goku Frieza, Strike-based hit, Strike-based, I don't know, the fucking 4s, Beast. Most units are Strike-based. UGB, Rose, Hit, Kid Buu, all Strike-based. There's not many Blast-based. Gammas, Red 21, LS17, GT17. There's a few Blast-based just outliers that exist. Evo, VT, yada, yada, yada. Maybe not those two particularly are making the list, but there's Blast-based outliers that exist that do so much because no one has Strike defense, or rather Blast defense. Everyone has Strike defense. I think one of his main teams would more argue toward androids than reps, personally.
The Universe Reps team, up until this point, was the fact that he basically was their Rising Rush deterrent unit alongside Revival UI Goku. You don't always run Revival UI Goku on Universe Reps. And right. I think with the release of Jiren and Goku and Frieza now as well, and the fact that Goku and Frieza have been buffed and hotfixed, I don't think you always run this character on Universe Reps now, right? Goku and Frieza is an auto-include on the team. Yeah,
because then you would... Ideally, what I see, at least, is I see hit... If I'm going to see uni-reps, which is kind of rare at this rate, because, you know, the Goku Frieza fucking Amplify setup is just whatever it is. It's hell. I see hit, Jiren, and then Goku Frieza. I don't see LS17 as common, so he's right on that.
I think if you want to run the best version of Universe Reps, I think it comes down to Goku and Frieza and hit are auto-included.
Yeah.
And then the third
'Cause
option,
color trio.
it kind of just is up to you.
Jiren or
I
17,
think
right?
if it was my
Highway
decision, I probably
sometimes?
would just pick the 17 as the third character. But Jiren is obviously more than capable as
17's just safer.
well. I think Revival UI
Jiren's
Goku is more
unsafe
than capable as
comparably,
well.
though. They're
But,
very safe anyways because you have Goku Frieza.
It feels like Goku and Frieza with their gauge, the anti-rising rush gauge, now that it's been buffed.
They stop rushing
This
off.
character's
Doesn't have the
uncancelable
need.
endurance, which was one of the main things that he was providing to the team, it's sort of become less valuable. But that's definitely not to say that this character has lost like tons of value, because he's still providing value in tons of other areas. So
Support,
I don't really
Cup
have that big of an
Pen, yada,
issue
yada, yada.
with this character being number 6 here. Something else which we'll talk about in a second here is one of the biggest things that sort of held this guy back from being super mega powerful was the presence of Ultra Rose for a long time.
And Ultra Rose
obviously
down a
just
bit.
being like one
And
of,
off
if not
boost.
the single most dominant character in the game for a long time until Kid Buu released.
Mm-hmm.
Has sort of began falling off. There's multiple reasons because of that, which we'll talk about when we get to
Goku,
him in a second
Goku
here,
Frieza.
the increasing amount of characters that are immune to status ailments and abnormal conditions.
Oh yeah,
The
all
amount
units
of
right now
purple
just
units
came out
that
are
exist
immune to
now,
paralyzed.
Goku and Frieza mainly, right?
Piccolo.
And then of course
Nerd
we have like
Gohan.
Zenkai UI Goku. and
Gammas,
we
I
have
think?
characters like
think all four,
Gogeta
maybe.
Blue, who you see still fairly frequently, at least I do.
I don't know.
So
This
I
is Gogeta
feel
Blue,
like
to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah. So and also the fact that he's out of the feature boost finally. It feels like he's been in there for like 500 years. But with that downgrade in the
Three-week
power that
season.
we're seeing from Rose, this 17 has sort of started to get a bit more breathing room, right? It's not like you're in a situation with
So he goes down because he's not particularly always that third unit you're bringing, or he's not even the second unit you're bringing, because you're always bringing blue, red, purple on uni reps. Because yes, color synergy, blue, red, purple being Goku Frieza, blue, purple, then hit being the red, and then you bring Jiren or 17. It's just up to debate at that point. Let's say the matchup is future. Okay, well Rose's there. I'm not going to bring 17. I'm going to bring Jiren. Right? Let's say it's Kid Buu and Piccolo. Okay, I'll bring Jiren. But let's say the matchup is the Goku Frieza Glaze setup. Well, you're going to bring 17 here because those blue cards will hit you like a fucking nuclear missile. So from that, you bring 17. You could kill Pan easier. You could do a little combo extension, get your Goku Frieza back, time skip, whatever the fuck you want to do. Though you could actually argue Jiren in that setting as well because he is a yellow against 2 purples. So I get that. And then the reason his value goes up or maintains is what he's saying is that Rose has lost value because units are immune to the big moves of Paralyzed from his blue card. Goku Frieza exists. Goku hits hard. He ramps up like a fucking demon king. He goes crazy on ramp up to Goku Frieza Goku. Even more so than that, Elefsa is being used a lot, and that does hurt Rose. Even if Elefsa is shit as an individual unit comparably to other top 10 units, he is being used as a green. Rose cannot neutral the entire match. It's only on main. Like, you could get neutral, but like your offense neutral is not that long to kill 2 purple units. It's just not really plausible for Rose there. Though it could be a situation you find yourself in niche times, right? Interesting enough on the 17. Again, I have him just a little bit higher as 5. If you want to say he's 6, all right. I'm just assuming the game is our number 5, though. So that's just my take on it. Number 5, though, I've heard everything on 17 here. Basically going to wrap up anyways, so let's see number 5.
okay, number 5, we have Ultra.
Oh! Number 5. What do I have him? I think I have him number 4, right? So I have Rose number 5. No, he has Rose number 5. I have Rose number 4. I actually don't think the Gammas and Rose can swap. I actually do think it is a finite situation where the Gammas are below the Ultras. They, below the top 3 Ultras that'll be up here, Kid Buu, Hit, and Rose. I don't think it's the situation. Rose, I don't know if the word is downplay, but again, I get it. Like, Goku Frieza exists. Again, I just mentioned the issues with Rose, right? What he can and can't do against situations that are up in the meta. But, the duo you did see a lot prior to Goku Frieza getting buffed was Rose with Kid Buu. That was very prominent. That was very, you can't beat it. Piccolo might have taken that place just for better equipment's sake for Kid Buu and all those things and more green card spawning, I guess, technically, but that doesn't make Rose, I mean, maybe it does make Rose lose value to where he's below Gammas, but I don't see that. I do not agree Rose's 5. I think Rose is concrete number 4. But let me hear his
Rose
reasons.
Goku Black. Again, I think I'm going to try and go a little faster. I'm moving a bit slow here. So like I just mentioned in the segment about 17, this character was dominant for a mega long time. There's 3 things that have happened in the game that have sort of hurt this character's viability a little bit. Number one, he's not in the feature boost anymore. After like 4 years, they've taken him out. They realized that
does hurt. It does.
They just forgot.
It has an impact. It does. I don't know if
he's been in the feature boost for
that bad, but it is an
2
impact.
months too long. He was in the feature boost.
The other two?
So that's number one. Number two, we've seen a lot of characters in the game that are now like immune to abnormal conditions or status ailments.
That's real.
Particularly paralysis, which definitely hurts this character.
For sure, all 4 new units are. I'm pretty sure.
What he's trying to do
like
is paralyze the opponent and then just RNG them out of the game. And then the last thing is that Goku and Frieza are purple for, I don't know, 2/3 of the
Those are all fair and correct
we still have
reasons.
Ultra
I
Goku
can't argue
blue
that.
in the game, and then we have characters
He's
like
just correct.
Zenkai,
Oh,
UI
let's
Goku.
say.
And there's some other purples that are floating around still too, like purple.
So which of those is most like harmful? Feature boosting K-Loss defenses, that's pretty harmful. Paralyzed immunity, I get it. Like, he is a fucking rat bastard with that blue card paralyzed bullshit that he can't do. To be fair, I'm not sure how many units are immune. I don't think it's more than like 3 that are in the meta, because it's Piccolo, Gammas, and Nerd Gohan, Magenta. They're not making it in this, so they're not really calculated here. I'm not sure the others. If it's just like barely 2 or 3 units, while that's impact, it's not so severe it's like crippling him, because, well, for one, Piccolo's at the bottom rung of this, and he's barely even used as like an offense unit, right? He's still going to get nuked by Rose. Even if he doesn't get paralyzed, he's going to get nuked by him. Piccolo just simply has a defense issue. He needs to defend better, he just can't. So that reasoning's kind of like, yeah, but like, no, because it's not that big of an impact, to be real. At least for the units that are technically paralyzed immunity right now. Then the last one being a purple exists. Yeah, that's just true. Yeah, Goku Frieza came out. The thing is, their buff happened, and that's why Rose went down, because they just ramp up even faster now.
You see every once in a while. But Goku and Frieza mainly are the character that you see every single match, and of course they have the ability to be purple, and it just makes using this character a little bit harder.
He gets like 2 strikes.
It's like,
to be honest,
you're not like drowning
like
in a
quick
sea of purple.
on the like
units,
amp setup.
There are at least
Chuff.
like I guess I'd call it 1.5 purples every match that I can run into. The half being Goku and Frieza. So it's those 3 things together: the status ailment immunity for a lot of these units, no longer being in the featured boost, and then the purples, the prominence of purple units right now. Still a really crazy unit. The fact that he's even number 5 on the list here as a green character in this environment that's dependent on status and ailments, right? And stuff
Actually,
like that.
there's 3 greens on this list.
This character's just dumb. This character's really dumb. I just did a video on revisiting him like a few days ago or a day ago or whenever that went up. I'm not sure. But
I mean, look, I understand his points. I just don't think those points are enough to take him down a notch from top 4. I don't think it's enough. That's just it. He thinks different. I think different. I don't think it's enough. He thinks it's enough. All right, then. Let's go number 4. I assume it's the Gammas here, right? Surely.
Alrighty, jumping in at number 4.
It is the Gammas. Again, I don't think the Gammas are in that top 4 positioning, personally. I think while Androids is a very good team, which is shocking he didn't mention Androids, despite this is the team you're running the Gammas on. Like, he mentioned L17 and he said best teams are eating reps. I didn't even touch on the topic of Androids, at least from what I saw here. Maybe I skimmed through it, but I didn't hear about it for the most part that I watched through on that segment. You would just think it'd be mentioned because this is their best team. They definitely are very good. I'm curious to see what he thinks and why he's pushing them higher above than I think anyone I've seen actually has put them in a list.
Gamma 1 and 2, one of the 2 newest LF units alongside Orange Piccolo. This character's really dumb.
Yeah, he's right. They go fucking fast on tagging too.
This character to me really feels like a combination of Vegeta and Trunks and the Buu Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta duo.
Because the cover null on the tag out type thing, the 2 counts, 3 counts thing, basically it's 2 counts on VT, 3 counts here. I get, that makes sense. Or on entry rather, whatever it is, the cover null, right? It's both technically for VT, and then the Buu duo standby. Yeah, I get it. But they're just a well done variant of both of those.
It feels like they sort of took the feedback that people had for both of those units, put them together, and then like removed a lot of the negative aspects of the characters.
Yeah,
and that's
I mean, there's some.
Feels like.
They have some issues.
Better version of
but I'll point them out if he doesn't say them.
really easy chance to get cover null with this character alongside type
True.
neutrality whenever you tag out
True.
to the
3
other
counts.
version. Of course,
Every
they're
time
building
tag out.
up to the preparation mode with the core breaker. I guess the one downside is that once the core breaker happens, you're kind of just
Can't tag
left
out.
with Gamma 1, and you can't
Yeah.
tag out anymore, which means you're missing a lot of mechanics. But
True.
the card draw speed these characters get, they get a bunch of different blue cards
Card
from using their
ceiling.
greens, the damage stacking.
Can't flash
Defensively,
upgrades.
they're actually really good. They reduce sub count on your allies and their healing whenever they take the first hit after switching in or tagging in. They destroy Dragon Balls when they use a blue card. It's on usage too, which means that if like an enemy dodges your blue card from close range, they can't just rush you because they don't have a Dragon Ball
And
anymore.
with the
Yeah, there's a lot going on for this
Core
character.
breaker.
The fact that they are a blast-based androids character means that
I believe their core breaker, when there's an ally defeated, they destroy 2 Dragon Balls. When there's no allies defeated, they destroy 1 Dragon Ball. So you really it's hard to get rushed with them, like actuality-wise. Especially because, again, the blue card destroys Dragon Balls. Like, it's hard to get rushed.
well, I guess
with
both
this
the
unit on
17s, the
team.
purple one and the blue one, you can kind of throw this character on there. And then you have like a complete color wheel, yellow, blue, purple, all coverage, like the best possible
Red
coverage,
21
I guess.
never gets any talking to, bro.
Against
Come on.
characters like Ultra Hit.
I core her over
Going to
GT17.
17. I think 17 literally is the single
Disrespect.
biggest deterrent to the time skip in the game that exists.
He's right.
So this character's
Yeah, he's right.
positioned really nicely right now. I think they definitely are one of the better units in the game for sure. The Gamma's here at number.
Let me just point out a flaw or two, because they do have flaws. A tag unit should have flaws. Like, Goku Frieza go neutral. I guess this is not a standard. I'm not comparing Goku Frieza to Gammas, though I technically should be, because they are both anniversary headlining units. But I'm not going to, because they got a buff, and they basically got a Zenkai on their buff. But just to say a situation where there's a negative to this unit, there's 2 spots. One being you don't have enough cover null to tag out from Gamma 1 to 2 every single time. You might be able to spam like 2 blasts, but you need like at least 1 more card, and probably from there you'll get swapped on because there's a lot of overall cover changes of like Beast Gohan, UGB, hits, blah 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 blah. Or you'll just have a strike card and there's Kid Buu, there's Goku Frieza, there's a lot of cover changes that have strikes. So that's kind of a problem. It's not a inherent big issue because it's not many cards that they can actually get covered on. That's just the problem they have. Then I believe Gamma 2's cover change, they both have a blast cover change, which just isn't ideal right now. Gamma 2's cover change doesn't combo into a blue. Gamma 1's does, but Gamma 2's doesn't. I guess maybe they think his blue is too good, so they didn't have it chain. I don't understand it. It makes no sense at all, but it doesn't chain. I guess maybe because he dies, they didn't do it. I don't know. I have no idea. But there's just some flaws with this unit. Not to say those flaws are, determining everything. It's like the paralyzed thing for Rose. You can't paralyze 3 units. Oh no, woe is me. It doesn't fucking matter in a whole, like, big thing. Like, it's just a sometimes iffy situation. Well, that's gonna suck if it can't happen, right? But they're a very good unit. I do not feel they can hit this caliber. If Androids gets a pure equip or they get a platinum equipment for like co-op or so, just one better thing for them to like really be them as good as they are and just a little further extent. A Zenkai buff, anything, truly anything of those capacities, just basically what VT got, but on a unit that's better than VT. Then I could talk about number 4, maybe even higher than that. I doubt it, but maybe. I can't see that right now just because they still have flaws. They don't have a Zenkai buff. They don't have XY. They're missing things that a normal tag unit, a normal XYZ unit, Goku Frieza, Tag 4s, yada, 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 would have initially on release. They don't have that. They're missing these things, and that's just, well, Legends doing shitty release timings. They'll get a Zenkai buff eventually, but it's not going to be right now. It's not going to be this week. It's not going to be next week. It's going to be in weeks and weeks and weeks, maybe even months from now. And it's just like, if they had that already, if they did Zenkai Gogeta Blue, did yellow movies, boom, I could see number 4. I really could. That matters. That Zenkai buff really matters. It's a lot of stats. But them not having these things, I can't argue number 4. I can't. I have to put them lower. He can argue it. I understand the argument. I could even, kind of see it. But there's just too much of an argument for Jose over the Gammas right now. And even more so, LS17 is amplifying them where they are missing out on these Zenkai buffs. 17's kind of making up for those missing things they have right now. He's their backbone. He's behind the scenes carrying them in an essence of a setting. Let's see number 3.
All right, coming in at number 3,
My boy!
we got Ultra Hit.
I agree. I have Hit as number 3 as well. Actually, yeah. Hit has utility. I agree with that. But his utility in comparison to other utilities that do exist. I mean, even look at the fucking Gammas. They can at least go neutral. He can't, though he does more to blues. You know what I mean by that. He just has less utility than other Ultras and other units, especially these top two, which seemingly are going to be Kid Buu and Goku Frieza, whichever order it is whatever. He has lacking utility in comparison to other units that are going to be above him right here, but his output, his teams, everything is great. I agree with this. Number 3. Let's get to number 2. Ooh!
All right, so coming in at number 2,
All right, so let me just say, clearly Goku Frieza is number 1. Beast not being top 10, very strange to me. I don't really understand that. I wonder why that's the case. I really can't follow that. But nonetheless, Kid Buu number 2. Look, I have Goku Frieza number 2 instead, and Kid Buu number 1, because I think the duo of Piccolo and Kid Buu is very good to stop that amplified setup of Goku Frieza. Now, do I think it's perfect? No, you're still going to get fucked up. You're still going to take a lot of damage, and it's going to be fucking hell for you. But I do think that setup of Piccolo and Kid Buu, given they have to be very high stars, as we are talking about here, 14 stars, it can stop that setup. It's not perfect. It's not. There's no perfect thing to stop Goku Frieza. It's Rising Rush. That's what stops them. Kid Buu can't. They go neutral. Why do they go neutral on Blue Card Ultimate? Because they can. They don't need to, but they do. If that weren't the case, I think Kid Buu would be number 1 on his list. But that's not the case. I have Kid Buu number 1. If you have Goku Frieza number 1, I can understand it. I, to an extent, even agree. But that duo that I've run, and I've consistently been running and trying to use like androids or regen and trying to see like what's the best thing to like just work around this bullshit ass fucking 4 Zenkai off double support fucking tag unit, it's gonna be regen. I think it does very well for the setting it's in. I think regen is gonna be very underused because Kid Buu is a pre-Annie Ultra there. Piccolo is a part 2 thing. Everyone's gonna wait for part 3. Piccolo is being downplayed and hated on already, so it's like people aren't gonna run it. But regen with Piccolo and Kid Buu, clearly the green, yellow to the blue purple is going to do very well against it. So I think in that setting, Kid Buu is number 1 in my opinion. But again, Goku Frieza being number 1, it's understandable. Honestly, I'll just get to Goku Frieza because this is going to be a long explanation, I'm pretty sure. So let's hear it.
All right, so coming in at number 1, we of course
again, I can understand this. I don't agree, but I can understand it. I can even
the last list that I did, I believe these
to an
guys
extent,
were like number
hear it
8
out.
or something like that. So a lot of you might be wondering, like, how the hell did they jump 7 ranks? Number
they
1?
got a Zenkai. There's just no Zenkai button for it.
The developers have deemed that it.
Let me just point out one thing before he goes to explanation, because I am gonna listen to all of this here. If there's one thing on their buff they didn't. I'm not going to say need, because there's a lot of things they didn't need on their buff, but there's one thing on their buff they shouldn't have gotten. They go neutral. Again, the whole point of tag unit is to maintain advantage or disadvantage and kind of control the flow of like advantage or disadvantage in the settings when you're, being an offense setting, to really like just cluster fuck your opponent. Have one unit be able to stop 2 units. That's what a tag unit is, right? You're supposed to reverse your element or change element. Ideally how it's been just through nature of tag units. This one, they go defensive neutral 3 times if they're ready. And similar to UGB being a solo purple that can neutral later in the game, but not early game. They go defense neutral 3 times if they're already in on blues and ults. If they didn't have that, I think Kid Buu would be talked about as number 1 here, because just hear me out for a second. Let's say I catch, and I've done this a lot of times, with Jiren or Kid Buu or, I don't know, Hit. And I catch the Goku on that, right? I do an ultimate with either of those 3 or a blue card, whatever. I would probably kill. I mean, fun fact, I actually have done a Gamma 1 blue card just tonight when I was doing matches for fun. And I did like 1.6 million. Mind you, this is a raw blue card. And they had like 3 million health. So I would have killed them in 1 shot if they weren't defense neutral. That is not something they should have gotten. That is the most moronic buff they could ever put on a unit in the game that is specifically meant to change elements. You can never, in a setting, ever catch them with their pants down, essentially, and just clean them out. There is no setting that's possible. The only thing that stops this unit perfectly, and there is no perfect thing to stop any unit that is Rising Rush. The fact that you have to rely on that mechanic, which is an RNG in itself mechanic, to one-shot this unit, it doesn't make sense. Hit, I guess, but even then, it's just... Hit's number 3. He's lacking utility. This unit's unfair. This unit's very unfair. They did not need defense neutral
was
on
necessary
both
to
sides,
buff this
either
character,
side, any
which
side.
I actually don't.
So
think was
unfair.
That a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, like I can't believe they buffed this unit. They're so stupid, etc.,
They are.
etc." I actually think it was the correct decision.
No, they
but
need the
this
buff
character is now like,
on some things.
honestly, it almost
everything.
feels like they received a Zenkai. That's the difference that we're seeing with this character. They're just ridiculous.
Just
I have them at number 1 for a reason here. Again, like I mentioned with Kid Buu, if you want to put Kid Buu at number 1 and this Goku and Frieza at number 2, I think I'd
there you go.
be more than okay with that. In fact,
There you go.
my first draft of this list,
Is
I
Kid
had
Buu?
Kid Buu at number 1 over Goku
Cool.
and Frieza. So you could
I mean,
definitely argue one way or the other.
He doesn't agree right now, but like,
if
you
you
know.
want to put Kid Buu at number 1, I don't think there's a single sane person that would argue with you. I mean, anybody that's experienced fighting any sort of Kid Buu at all would sort of understand where you're coming from.
Oh, brother, I know it.
I don't know what they were thinking.
Oh, I use it now.
But Goku and
This
Frieza,
can't
after their
stress.
buff and after their hot fix with the bug, I think this
They
character
have another bug
deserving of
still.
being number
They're
1
still
on the list.
buffed.
They're just doing too much,
It's
right?
funny. Yeah.
Not only are
They also
the hardest
support.
character in the game, them next to Hit, but you can put them on the best team in the game next to Hit, right?
True.
Them, Hit, and like Blue 17, them, Hit, and Jiren, them, Hit.
Talk
and
about
then
the
Revival
Glaze
UI
setup.
Goku.
Talk about it.
Any of these
Talk about it.
combinations are just so ridiculous.
Let me hear
It's
it.
just the fact that they literally do not care about Rising Rush for the first half of the match, pretty much. And then the fact that they're probably
80 counts.
one of, if no, they're
They
not. They're,
can't get
not
rushed.
they're probably not the single best last stand character in the game, but they're definitely up there. I mean, who's a better last stand unit in the game? Kid Buu
Kid Buu?
gets
Yeah.
permanent
'Cause he
endurance
endurance
nullification. I don't
But
know
like, is that even?
because they get their.
I mean, looking at this top 10, permanent endurance null, is it really like? Is it really that strong right here? I mean, I guess to an extent, but like, it's probably Goku Frieza better last man stand.
Get their gauge back, and
Probably.
you can't rush them. And they have like an unkillable amount of defense and HP.
They also go neutral defensively on
I
big
will
moves.
tell you guys this.
How do you kill them in one combo? You
Looking
can't.
at the
Then they
buff
catch you
this
once,
character
you're dead 3
received,
units.
There are 3 things that I think I would probably not have done.
I better
that
hear the
seem like a
defense
lot
neutral,
to most
please.
people, but
Please.
the first thing is type neutrality versus blues and ultimates.
Whoa, that's crazy. It's almost like I said
I
that.
did not think they needed that at
Crazy.
all. This character
It's a tag
becomes
unit. They should
a
have that.
lot
It makes
harder
no
to kill
sense.
because of that.
It makes no
Every time
sense.
Goku is hit with a blue card or an ultimate from a yellow character, it's doing
You
type neutral
live.
damage.
You
Every
live.
time Frieza is hit by a blue card or an ultimate from a green character, it is doing type neutral damage. That is really, really broken.
tag
That is
unit.
Ultra
They should not have
Gogeta Blues mechanic. That's the
Again,
same mechanic that Ultra Gogeta
But he's not a
uses.
tag unit. He's a
That is
purple.
crazy.
It makes sense.
The second thing that I don't think they needed
What else?
was
Vanish back?
the card locking. This might not have been something that was added to them with the buffs, but
I mean, it
the
is in
only
general.
like truly toxic thing about this character I think that exists is the random card locking when you switch out against this unit. So if you
I don't believe that is true. I think the defense neutral is very toxic because you cannot one combo. Every unit in the game can be one combo right now by any other unit that's in top 10. Top 10 can all one combo everyone 1 through 10. Except for Goku Frieza. If I have 2 strikes with hit and let's say, I'm not going to say hit. Let me say Kid Buu. Let's say I have 3 strikes and a blue card. Maybe 2 strikes. Let's say 2 strikes. 2 strikes into a blue. I can't kill Goku. I cannot. That is toxic. That the unit cannot die when I'm at advantage situation. That is toxic. There's no ways around that. That is toxic. The card lock's also toxic. The last thing that's toxic is, dude, they spawn blues. Brother. Tell me who spawns as frequent blues as Goku Frieza. No, really, tell me. Kid Buu, well, you have to do a green card instead of a blue card, so it makes sense. You're using something for gaining something. That makes sense. Who else? Truly, who else spawns as many blues as Goku Frieza? Every card feels like a blue card. They feels like a 3 blue cards every hand with 6 more strikes coming up. It's time out, bro. That's just toxic.
comboing this character and you're in the middle of a combo and you want to switch to a character that's
And then they
you know,
steal
on
every card you
standby,
fucking
switch to a
click.
combo. This character is going to randomly
Invented.
seal one of your card slots.
It's always one.
And because you don't know what card slot is going to be
You
sealed,
can't predict it.
there's a possibility that your combo is dropped. If you're
Yep.
switching into
Fun.
I don't know, let's say you're using the androids team, right?
I've lost the
And
match
your
because of
team
that.
is
Many.
purple and blue
Many.
17 in the gammas. If you're using the gamma 1, let's just say for example, and you switch into blue 17, one of your card slots is randomly going to be sealed. If you're clicking that card slot and it gets sealed,
the reason it's more toxic goes into why the blue card and ult thing is toxic. Because, let's say I'm swapping so I can maintain color advantage. I started a combo, I landed a combo with blue 17, I swapped a game of 1. If they didn't have that neutrality, then I'd be free to kill them within that combo because it's blue 17, it's a game of 1, I got a blue card. Okay, no neutral, I don't have to worry about any bullshit to have them live. I just plop that shit going. I can't do that now. That's why it's toxic, because it gets extended to where you get comebacked on because they hit so hard.
Your combo's dropped. Like, it's just random. I hate that. That is the only toxic thing about this character.
No.
That I think.
Hell no. Completely disagree.
Didn't really
Completely.
need that, right?
Defense neutral is
third
toxic.
Thing
it is.
that I don't think
on a
they
tag
need,
unit. It
which,
is.
Again, I think this is probably a pre-buff ability, but the fact that Frieza's cover nullification on tagging
Can't be
is
canceled.
non-cancelable.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I actually don't like that, and the reason is
Oh,
because it creates an environment where this
Where you have to
character
use them!
is the only counter to themselves.
Technically
And what I mean
no,
by
but
that is
I get what he
because
means by
Frieza's
that.
cover null is uncancelable. An enemy,
They're the only ones that can
Goku
rush
and Frieza
themselves.
can't cover
WI
change
can.
and nullify the rush
And
if
V
Frieza
can.
uses the rush while he has cover null.
Who really can?
Right?
These
It
motherfuckers.
becomes a situation where it's like this character becomes the only counter to itself, which is a really bad situation for in like the world of game design. When a
That's
character is the
what I
only
like to
counter
say.
to itself,
Dog
like,
shit
that's just
design.
It just creates an environment where you are
Personally.
actually forced to use this character to get around it. So I'm not really a huge fan of that at all. So those three things I don't think this character needed. Like, literally just don't make Frieza's cover null uncancelable, make it cancelable. I don't think they needed the ceiling. I just think it's overkill, and it just makes it annoying when you're trying to combo the
Defense
character,
neutral.
and it's like, okay, I wonder what card slot's going to be locked, and you still randomly guess. Again, it's coin flips. And then the other thing, I don't think they needed the type neutrality against blues and ultimates. I don't think they needed it. Like, yeah, it's nice that they have it, I guess.
They
right?
tag. They do not need.
it.
Their point is to tag
But
out
this
to
character
maintain
is just
advantage.
utterly
Then that
like,
just nullifies their
ridiculous.
entire existence. Just same with Frieza the entire match.
There's a reason
Stupid.
I'm fighting this character 8/9 times out of 10 times, right? 8 to 9 matches out of 10 I'm fighting against this character. One thing I do
10
want
out
to
of 10
mention
here.
as well is I think this character will probably outage most of this list. This character and then Blue 17
probably
I
right.
think will outage most of this
He's
list.
probably right. He'll probably,
Yeah,
dude.
the
Hit won't
anti-rising
even be
rush
top
change
10. They'll
the
be
fact
like
that
top
they
3
replenish
still.
it as last
Like
man standing
that's
as
what's gonna
well.
happen.
It's really,
Especially
really
UVB's blue.
impactful. I remember back when I did a list. I think it was when Ultra Rose first dropped, and most people had Ultra Rose at number 1, and I think I put Goju to Blue at number 1. And my reasoning was because his gauge just controlled the match too much. I equate this
Understandable.
Goku and Frieza's gauge similarly to Goju to Blue's gauge, where it just has too much control over
The
the
thing
match.
is, this is a different
to
level of control.
have me not put this unit.
You
at
can't
number one.
use
And
the
that's
one
just
thing that
my
kills
opinion,
them
right?
permanently.
Because again, even when they're on
Nothing
standby,
just one combos this unit.
they're controlling
Nothing
the
can.
match, and that's not something you can say about like
how it
Kid Buu.
is.
Kid Buu is ridiculous. I think everybody.
He's a
knows
piece
that
of
right
shit
now.
pest, Kid
But
Buu.
Kid Buu is not.
But he's not doing
anything
this.
when he's on standby. This
Yeah,
character is.
exactly.
This character is deterring the opponent from rushing, no matter if they're on the battlefield or. If
Kid
they're
Buu's a
on standby.
dickhead.
So
These are
that
fuckers.
to me is the big difference between this character and like Kid Buu, for example. So. Goku and Frieza here at number 1. I have a hunch that they're probably going to get dethroned as we move into part 3 of the anniversary. I think what
Really?
we're going to get is just going to straight up obliterate everything in the game.
I genuinely do not think that'll be the case. I think maybe I don't think they'll be number 1. Again, I think Kid Buu's number 1 right now, personally. But I don't think the Ultra is going to be. Maybe it'll be number 1, but I think it'll be a very contestable 1-2. I think Goku Frieza will be 1 at that point. Whatever it is, I don't know what the fuck the buff is, but let's say it's a red. That's blue, red, purple. You're not running hit. You're leader sliding down your Ultra on uni reps, bada fucking boom, or you're running pan, fucking 4x Zenkai buff. You're leader sliding the Ultra, 4x Zenkai buff, Goku Frieza, and fucking pan. I don't fucking know, or some stupid shit like that. We're a left side. Who cares? One of those two. Same fucking premise. Bullshit. And then it'll be like arguably 1-2 fucking bullshit, if it's a red at least. Because that's color synergy. They don't need hit. Hit is fucking go bye-bye. You don't need them. Uni reps is just better off with 4x Zenkai buff Goku Frieza. But they're a fucking pain in the ass. That's all I know. Overall, Beast is the only thing that kind of like threw me when I was thinking about it for a second because I just didn't recognize it. And maybe he talked about it while talking about Rev UI and I just didn't hear it because I could understand why Rev UI is number 10. But that's about it. Everything else is contestable. Maybe the Gammas I think are a little bit overrated here. But again, it's number 4 to number 6. It's not that deep. It's not like 3 to 4 spots. It's 2 spots, and it's really not that far spots because you can understand why Rosé is going down. Maybe the examples given aren't like finite, perfect examples, but there's examples that make sense there, right? Overall, though, I more or less agree with this. There's a lot of things I skipped because I agreed with them completely. It hits here. Who else? It was Jiren. It was UGB. It was yada yada yada. Piccolo. Like there's a couple units I just fully agree. It's like, okay, well, there's no debate. Let's just get through it. But overall, it's understandable everything that is here. It's just the nitpicks of my own I guess PvP experience to his own PvP experience is different in those settings of XY unit being XY different spots. But what do you guys think of my reaction to Goresh's top 10 list of part 2 of Dragon Ball Legends 50th anniversary? I'll see you guys in the next one.